10 seconds.
After so many years out of the octagon, it is clear that Conor McGregor is totally focused and ready to face the big challenge against Max Holloway. Pressure is huge since everybody wants to see if McGregor is really himself again after those years out of combat sports. Whether in gym training sessions or during tough sparring practices, it is evid my end that McGregor is willing to show the world that he is still the best.
This can't be some hell of a camp, but he's taking one hell of a camp. And I get seriously fucking way better this camp. Keep calm and wallop me.
We're getting into this with the game here.
1 minute, Bob.
Shadow boxing has also been a huge part of camp. A lot of fighters use shadow boxing to stay loose and improve movement, and Conor seems fully focused during those moments. He moves around constantly, working on angles, footwork, and quick reactions. It almost looks like he is imagining the fight in his head while practicing different situations against Holloway. Those quiet moments in training are sometimes just as important as the hard sessions. Dominic Cruz started by explaining why Conor McGregor is still such a dangerous fighter despite being away from competition for so long. He broke down McGregor's striking style, pointing out how Conor uses movement, feints, and timing to create openings for his powerful left hand. Cruz stressed that McGregor's success has never been just about power. It comes from his ability to set traps and force opponents into mistakes before capitalizing on them. Even after years away from the octagon, Cruz made it clear that those skills are what could make McGregor a serious threat against Max Holloway.
It's a rematch. He has the best chance against this Max than he could have had, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because at least Max is off a loss. He's not got this crazy momentum. The difference, though, is as long as Max, which I do believe he has this mentality, he's got a short memory, like let that fight go. Kind of like what Nate Diaz did. He said, yeah, I fought one of the baddest dudes on earth, and so what? I lost. That doesn't make me a loser. As long as Max can mentally do that, he'll be okay. But look at these shots of Conor. These knockouts that Conor does, he usually times the right hand, and he comes over the top of it with his left hand, and he's very accurate. That's what makes Conor dangerous, in my opinion, isn't just the power, but also his accuracy with the power. As you see in all these fights, he's slipping the right hand so well, and he takes away your right hand. Well, when you're fighting a southpaw, your biggest weapon is your right hand. You want the backhand and the back leg against a southpaw. Conor knows that. And so he does really good with the hand fight as a southpaw. And then when that backhand comes, he's countering it.
Cruz began pointing out reasons why Max may be able to handle those challenges better than most fighters. He noted that many opponents have already studied McGregor's tendencies over the years, and Holloway is experienced enough to recognize those patterns. Cruz also mentioned that Max has accomplished so much during Conor's absence from the sport that he now enters the matchup with a completely different level of confidence and experience compared to their first meeting.
You know, that's one of the things I've said for a long time is you can have these knockouts, but eventually people are going to see the patterns. And I'm explaining the patterns to you right now. The patterns are that left hand, he takes away your right hand by countering it. He spin attacks to the weak side, so that you move towards his strong side. And he has certain patterns in Conor that set up his knockouts that started to become the basis of his style. And I think people have made those adjustments, Poirier being the first one to really make the big adjustments on that. Now, I think that Max Holloway is smart enough to do that on his feet. And he's had enough success, and he's been, you know, champion, BMF guy. He's just done so many things while Conor's been hurt and out that I do think he's got that momentum. I think at the end of the day, though, the fact that he's coming off a loss makes it a little bit more help for Conor to come back from a layoff. If you think about it, it's like a loss versus a long layoff. At least there's something.
This was where Cruz really started leaning toward Holloway. He explained that Max's stance switching could make it much harder for McGregor to time his counters. Cruz also pointed out that Holloway has already shared the cage with Conor before, meaning he understands many of the things that make McGregor effective. According to Cruz, today's Holloway is not the same young fighter who faced McGregor years ago. He believes Max has developed the tools and awareness necessary to make important adjustments during the fight.
Max Holloway's going to read that. And the other thing is Max fought him, so he's got the reads on that. And also Max switches stance. The stance switch for Max is going to make it harder for Conor to time over the top of his right hand. And he knows all the things that I know. So Max is going to make these adjustments. I think the big difference also in that fight is that Max is a grown man now. When he fought Conor the first time, he was younger. He was still learning where he was in the division. He was still learning his belief in himself. I think Max now knows that he's championship material. He knows how good he is. He's been told by the world, and he believes what the world tells him. So I think that that's going to help him in this matchup, because I think he got out-confidenced in their first fight a lot. He just got like almost big brothered with confidence. I don't know if Conor's going to be able to out-confidence Max this fight. I think that they're going to be able to match up in that kind of mindset and match up. And whereas before Conor could just punk him, I think Max, even if he gets beaten on the words, on the war of words.
Ariel Helwani began by reminding viewers that he had been saying for weeks that the fight would be Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway. He sounded confident about the matchup finally becoming official and explained why it made sense. According to Ariel, the rematch brings together two of the sport's biggest names and revives a rivalry that dates all the way back to their first meeting in 2013. He noted that Holloway has never competed at 170 pounds in the UFC, while McGregor hasn't fought since 2021, making the fight full of interesting questions from both sides.
But yeah, vintage Dana there, and good to know that he still has the fastball. The bigger story to me is, did I not say? I mean, I was literally the first one. And I know there's a lot of new people who just don't know. Like, last week you're giving me shit like, oh, they didn't announce it on the fucking 328. I told you from the beginning, it's Conor. He's coming back July 11th. Max Holloway, 175 rounds. I told you this from the beginning. I never even infused another name. I never even interjected with another name. I never even threw out the possibility of another name. It was always Conor, Max, July 11th, International Fight Week, the rematch fight that happened way back when. First UFC on FS1 show, 2013, I believe, in Boston. And so the Mac is back, and it's against Max, and I like the fight. Max has never fought at 170 in the UFC. Conor hasn't fought since 2021. We just saw Mike Perry come back, but obviously he's been fighting a bunch since 2020. Conor's not done any fighting. But this is a big deal. This is a big deal for the UFC. It's a big deal for Paramount Plus.
When talking about McGregor, Ariel sounded optimistic about the former champion's return. He said Conor coming back is great for the sport and acknowledged that fans have been waiting a long time to see him compete again. Ariel mentioned that McGregor appears motivated and has worked hard to get himself back into fighting shape. However, he also made it clear that there are still unanswered questions because of the long layoff. In Ariel's view, everything depends on how McGregor looks once the cage door closes after nearly 4 years away from competition.
Yeah, we'll have more time to break that all down, but the timing of the announcement was great. Conor McGregor coming back is great for the sport. Who knows how many more of these he does have left. There's 2 fights left on his contract. How do you not watch that if you're Conor McGregor tonight, the Netflix card, and be like, I could probably make like 50 mil, something like that. They had to offset the pay-per-views. They had to make it right. I'm told they did. I'm told he's happy. I'm told the team is happy. But I'm also told he hasn't added fights to that contract. So there's still 2 left. And that's very significant. Because if he could get this one in July 11th and then one more, probably not this year, but first quarter, second quarter next year, you're talking about a year from now, maybe summer or back end of 27.
Both Dustin Poirier and Jorge Masvidal emphasized that Charles Oliveira's success against Holloway doesn't necessarily provide a blueprint for McGregor. They explained that Oliveira's grappling style is unique and relies heavily on body locks, clinch work, and high-level jiu-jitsu transitions. According to them, McGregor simply doesn't possess the same tools. While they acknowledge that anything can happen in a fight, they both felt that Holloway's defensive grappling and overall experience make it unlikely that Conor could duplicate what Oliveira did. Their comments suggested that the fight would almost certainly be decided on the feet.
Charles is exceptional in that department.
And it wasn't, Charles didn't use traditional wrestling. It was a lot of body locks, a lot of clinch, different stuff. I bet Max's fundamental wrestling defense is probably really good if a guy's shooting regular shots, but grappling and crawling around to your back is different. Like a jiu-jitsu guy's grappling is a different field than a wrestler. The setups, the takedowns, the defense is different. So I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think Conor has what Charles has to stay on him like that.
Yeah, I would be shocked. That would be insane. Let's just talk. We were talking about this in the back. I know we don't like we're all Max Holloway fans. We love, I like Conor McGregor. I think he's entertaining. I think he's a great fighter. He's had a lot of time off. But let's just imagine Conor ends up winning. He goes out there and has this crazy performance.
One shot kill?
Yeah, one shot kill. What does that do for the sport? What does that do for the future of the UFC and Conor McGregor?
He's the biggest star, so the sport, everything's going to rise with it. A lot of fun matchups, What if, though? If.
The strongest prediction came when the conversation turned to McGregor's cardio. Masvidal openly questioned whether Conor could maintain his pace deep into the fight after such a long absence. He predicted that if McGregor doesn't finish Holloway early, the momentum would eventually swing heavily in Max's favor. Masvidal described Holloway as a relentless volume striker who never stops working and knows exactly how to exploit opponents who begin to slow down.
I think the MSG
It might be bigger because of his layoff. People are excited to see him back. They don't know how many times he's going to come back. This could be it. If he gets whipped.
100%. You just want that opportunity to see Conor perform.
In person.
Yeah, 100%. We have a couple more chat questions. Let's get to those. Thoughts on Conor's gas tank? What's the over-under on his tank at 170? I say under 1.5 rounds.
Sounds about right. I'm gonna give it more on that. I think 2.5. Half.
With Max?
2.5. It's a 5-round fight. 2.5. Halfway point, I think it starts going downhill.
I think I'm gonna call it with Buddy right here.
1.5?
Yeah.
If he doesn't finish Max within 1.5 rounds, there's no chance of Conor winning that fight.
I wouldn't see it happening.
Yeah.
Kudos to him if he pulled that off. But it's just because it's also Max, a guy that knows his greatest weapon is his gas tank. He also knows Conor's greatest default is his gas tank. So I just think Max is gonna,
Brendan Schaub kept coming back to one thing, activity. While Conor McGregor has spent years on the sidelines, Max Holloway has been in there fighting some of the toughest names in the sport and staying sharp against elite competition. That's a big reason why Schaub feels this matchup is so difficult for McGregor. He even suggested that Holloway should be a bigger favorite than he currently is. In Schaub's eyes, the UFC isn't easing Conor back into competition with a tune-up fight. They're throwing him straight in with a battle-tested former champion who has spent years proving himself against the very best and has earned every opportunity that's come his way. Despite leaning heavily toward Holloway, Schaub admitted that McGregor always carries a dangerous wildcard factor. He said that if Conor wins, it almost certainly happens early, before cardio becomes a major issue. Brendan can still envision McGregor landing a huge shot in the opening rounds and changing everything with one punch. If that happens, Schaub believes the UFC would immediately push Conor into another massive fight, possibly even a title opportunity. While he clearly sees Holloway as the favorite, he acknowledged that McGregor's power and star presence make him impossible to completely count out. No matter who people are picking in this fight, one thing is clear: this is one of the biggest comeback moments the UFC has seen in years. Conor McGregor still has the star power, confidence, and knockout ability that made him one of the biggest names in combat sports. But on the other side, Max Holloway has stayed active, sharp, and battle-tested against some of the toughest fighters in the world. That's what makes this matchup so interesting. Some people believe Conor can shock everyone one more time, while others think Max's pace, pressure, and experience over 5 rounds will simply be too much. Either way, the entire MMA world is going to be watching when these two finally step into the cage together. Let us know your opinions in the comments below. Who do you think wins this fight, and how does it end?